everyone. We just wanted to give y'all a quick little life update. We are currently in Baltimore, Maryland, all the way from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we just had our baby boy named Aiden
May 18th.
on May 18th.
He's 2:29 p.m.
He is 6 days old, and he is the cutest thing in the entire world.
He's currently in the NICU because he was born at 32 weeks and 5 days, but he is a champ.
Yeah, he's doing really well.
He's doing so good.
Yeah. But, so let's rewind to about
October. Yeah.
Kind of give y'all an update about what has happened in our lives in the last 8 or 9 months. How we got from Chattanooga, Tennessee, all the way here.
October, we found out we were pregnant. And then everything was like completely normal OB ultrasounds, like normal appointments. And then like January-ish, when we hit 16 weeks, my doctor recommended that we do something called a quad screen, and it tests for like just birth defects. And honestly, like didn't think about it. I just did it because he recommended it. And then 2 days later, I got a phone call, and I was working night shift. And they called me and left a voicemail, and it was a high-risk place in Chattanooga, and they wanted me to make an appointment, and I was like panicking because I didn't know. I was like, I don't have high blood pressure, so I don't know why I need to go there. But then we ended up making the appointment, and I called my OB, and they said that I had like a protein level, AFP, come back a little high, and he was almost positive it would be a false positive. He just wanted me to go get checked out to be sure, and that was like January 19th-ish, and we had to wait like 10 days to see him. So for 10 days we were just like wondering, and we were pretty positive that we were just like fine. Like we didn't think anything was wrong.
The last thing in our minds was something being wrong with our baby.
Yeah.
So when they gave us the news that
I had to go to the high-risk appointment by myself.
Yeah, and then of course
because of
COVID. She had to go in there by herself to get good or bad news. And of course we got the bad news where Aiden was diagnosed with spina bifida.
Mallomeningeal.
So that was a shock.
He instantly said that there was like a procedure we could have to where they pretty much like cut me open, cut my uterus open, and then they can repair the little sac on his back, because mallomeningeal is basically like an open spine. The skin doesn't close over the spine, and it could be done at Vanderbilt, which is like a 3-hour drive. But as soon as we knew our diagnosis, we were like Googling.
Yeah, we did our research. And we didn't really know what spina bifida was at first. And as we kind of started researching it and stuff on our own, we knew we wanted to go to the best place we could for the procedure. But as we started looking up different hospitals and everything, Vanderbilt had only done, how many have they done procedures?
Not as many as like Philadelphia, CHOP in Philadelphia. But they were both like open procedures to where they cut me and my uterus. And we ended up coming across a new experimental thing, and it's to where they go in laparoscopically to my uterus, and outcomes have been just the same. There were just a lot less maternal risks with fetoscopic, and like less risks with future pregnancies. So then we decided,
that was big for us.
We decided that's what we were gonna do.
So we actually decided on Texas Children's Hospital in Houston. So, you know, as the weeks go by, we just start planning because
we were scheduled to go to Texas the end of March. We were scheduled for like March 20th when I was 25 weeks.
Yeah. So we'd have to pack up pretty much and move everything to be down there for the surgery. And of course with COVID and everything, we couldn't really do much as far as being right by the hospital. Every single appointment we had to go in, and before that we had to like quarantine ourselves for a couple weeks before heading down there. And we ended up actually getting a place to stay down there for free.
A super amazing family owned a condo down there
super
that
nice.
they weren't living in. So we packed everything up and went down in March. And we had like 4 days of full appointments from like 7 a.m. till 5 p.m.
And then phone calls after that, like Zoom meetings and everything with different doctors.
Different teams, social workers, genetic counselors, multiple ultrasounds, MRI. And then we were 1 day from surgery, and we had gone to appointments all day long. And then we had our final meeting with anesthesia at like 4 p.m. the day before surgery. And they called, and they actually had like my MFM on the line as well, and like our nurse coordinator on the line. And before they even started talking, they pretty much told us like we were disqualified from surgery because I had had COVID within 5 weeks or 7 weeks of the surgery.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yep.
Yeah, literally the day before surgery, they just gave us the boot.
Yeah. And the cutoff to have the surgery is 26 weeks, and I was 25 weeks in a day, so we only had like 5 days to have the surgery, and now we couldn't have it at Texas Children's. So they referred us to like another hospital, really good, in Texas, right down the road, and they had done several open procedures, but they had only done 6 fetoscopically. And so we met with them, but we didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, we went down. The only reason we went to Texas was to like try to go to the best hospital there was for the surgeries. They have the most like
statistics.
Yeah,
and
like the most
outcomes
surgeries
and
completed and everything. And so when they kind of sent us down the road to another hospital that only done 6 of them, it was kind of like, I mean, we would rather go somewhere else, like even Philadelphia or somewhere else. Like, what are our options here? And then your
the
nurse coordinator, she actually super sweet. Like their whole team there was so nice. Like they were.
I would have trusted
awesome.
any of them with anything. Yeah. Like they were instantly like just amazing.
But they actually called Johns Hopkins up here and asked them if they would be willing to do the procedure, even with Megan's
positive COVID
test within 7 weeks. And then they approved her for the procedure.
But we had to start appointments that Monday at 7 a.m. and we only had 3 days to get through all of the appointments and surgery.
Yeah. So we had 2 days to drive from Houston to Baltimore, Maryland, which it literally takes 2 days to drive that far. So we packed up things as fast as we could and got on the road. Drove all the way to Baltimore. Got here at like 12 o'clock at night 2 days later. And we actually started appointments like the next day, didn't we?
We got here on Saturday. So we had all day Sunday.
Okay.
And then we started appointments on Monday.
Yeah. And like they were pretty much all day things as well. The only difference is though, I couldn't go into the appointments with Megan. So I had to just drop her off, at that time we just had a little hotel room, wait in the hotel room, and then when she got back she could relay all the information that they've told her
and they like had to pack our days full because we only had 2 days to get through what they usually do in 4 days, because my cutoff date for surgery was that Wednesday, and so we had to get through everything Monday and Tuesday in order to go into surgery on Wednesday.
Yeah. And we actually, my parents came up like a day or two after we got here, just to kind of help us with everything. Because, like I said, we didn't have really any time. We didn't do any research about like where we would stay or what's a good location to stay, because we have to be within like 15 miles of the hospital. Yeah. Which even now, looking back, that's way too far than what we needed to be. Luckily, we got an apartment here at Fells Point, which is only like a 6-minute drive to the hospital.
Johns Hopkins.
Yeah. Which has been like
so helpful.
So good. I mean, we've had a couple close calls here, not knowing about how she felt after surgery and everything. So we definitely wanted to be close. The surgery went well though.
Yeah, so we had surgery on that Wednesday, and it was like an 8-hour procedure. We were admitted that Tuesday night. We went into surgery at like 8 a.m. the next day, and then I don't remember the first 2 days.
It was the most stressful thing in the world. Just imagine going in the hospital. We actually got there at like 6 or 7 at night the day before the surgery because it started in the morning. So we slept in the hospital, and then in the morning they came in. They put your
they put my epidural
in and everything, and so I was there for that. And then they pretty much just like rolled her out of the room to go like to the operating room, and I literally sat there in that room not having a clue what was going on other than some like text message updates one of the nurses would give me for like 8 hours. And it was
like a full surgery. Like I was out intubated like the whole 9 yards for the whole thing. But when I woke up, that's when the epidural was like in use, was for pain management for the first 2 days post-op.
So it was pretty scary. Of course, I mean, Megan was definitely very scared and stuff, but even for me, like, it was pretty stressful.
But baby boy did really well. They were able to close his spine all up.
Yep, the surgery went good.
And then we returned home. We were in the hospital for 5 days. Hospital time was really rough.
That was a rough 5 days too.
And then the first week home was really, really rough. And then
you were just like
week,
hurting all the time. Pretty much. I mean, you did pretty good, like as far as like recovering wise. I feel like it was a good surgery, and they didn't really put you in too much pain. All the doctors were super nice, and they were always there to answer questions for us that we had. And
the recovery was a lot rougher than like we anticipated, I guess. I anticipated like just being able to live a normal life afterwards, but the pain was a lot. And then like pain that we didn't expect, like I was having like sharp shooting pains on one side, and like we had no idea.
Yeah, it was like torture for her. Like, I mean, you could just sit there and see how much pain she was in. It was awful.
And the doctors couldn't really tell us why. They just said that they thought like a suture had come loose and like it was poking me. I mean, it definitely wasn't normal. So like if somebody's watching this and thinking about like, they're gonna have the fendoscopic like surgery, I mean, this isn't like a normal pain that happens. Megan just had kind of like a abnormal. It was just like a complication.
Yeah, an abnormal complication. And so the hardest thing is the fact that they had no idea really what it was. They just thought it was the stitches inside her uterus, and maybe we kind of came to the conclusion that like the baby was like pushing on it. He would like
sit on it or kick it,
which hurt it even worse.
Which would cause the suture that was coming out of my uterus to like poke into me more. But we really had no idea.
Yeah, that's kind of the first crazy thing that happened after the surgery that wasn't really anticipated. Secondly,
it lasted till like week 5 and then kind of went away 5 weeks post-op. And then 7 weeks post-op, I went to an ultrasound on a Wednesday, and they saw membrane separation. So the sac that he was in separated from the uterine wall, and there was like a layer of space in there. But they said like, I can hold that, like that's fine, not to worry about it. Like people go multiple weeks with membrane separation. But then 2 days later, I started like leaking fluid. And so I called my OB, and she brought me in, and she could tell that I was leaking fluid. And so she wanted us to come in that Friday and just get monitored overnight. But then the next morning, my water completely broke. And so then plans changed, and they wanted to keep us inpatient for 2 weeks. I was 31 weeks when my water broke, and no, I was 32 weeks when my water broke, and they wanted to keep us in for 2 weeks and have me deliver at exactly 34 weeks. just to give Aiden more time to bake. And they would use like magnesium to stop contractions if they started.
Which was
horrible.
Yeah,
I never
was
want to be
bad.
on magnesium ever again. But
Constantly,
then,
she was just complaining about how hot she was, and then she would get like nauseous and almost get sick. Like we have a little fan, like a small little fan we plugged into the wall.
Saved my life.
Yeah, and we plugged it in like right by her bed and just turned that thing on full blast, and it helped a little bit, but I still think like that was by far the worst thing you had going on was that magnesium.
But the magnesium only lasted like a day and a half before they decided to turn it off because I wasn't contracting, I wasn't in active labor, and they thought they could keep him in there longer. But then they came in to do an assessment, and when they pushed down like my upper belly, it was really tender, and so she was thinking it was the top of my uterus, which would be a sign of infection, and which is also a possibility after your water breaks. So then they went back and forth on what to do because they couldn't tell if it was or wasn't an infection. And then the morning of the 18th, they decided that it was go time.
It was, time to have the baby.
Yeah.
So they started like talking with all the doctors and stuff, coming up with like a little plan, I guess, like the huddle or whatever, and got her prepped for the C-section. Which,
I had the best L&D nurse ever.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
She was super sweet. That whole process I feel like was just a lot faster and easier than the surgery though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like
the surgery was a lot more like when you're actually like put to sleep with like the drugs that they use and like you're intubated, like that's a whole procedure versus an epidural and a C-section.
It felt like from the time they said, okay, we're gonna have the C-section, it was like 2 hours and we were in the operating room.
I feel like the whole
C-section.
week from the time that they said I had separation to the time that the Aiden was born, that whole thing is just like a blur. Like it went by so fast.
Yeah.
Like
really
how did one like it was just like a waterfall of events.
Yeah. But when we got into Megan had already gotten all of her stuff set up and was in the operating room, and I was waiting outside in a chair. They brought me back, and she was already on the little table, ready to go. So I sat down like right beside her head, and they had like a big like sheet over, of course, so we couldn't see anything. But I felt like it was literally maybe 10, 15 minutes max, and they got Aiden out, and we didn't even know he was out of her stomach yet because like,
he didn't cry.
Didn't make any sound at all. And they told me I could look up, and I looked up, and I just saw him sitting there like a little. He was so tiny, and his eyes were just wide open.
He was so
staring.
alert.
Didn't make a sound. Like didn't
They were
cry
all
at
just
all.
like cracking up about it.
Yeah, he was just wide-eyed, just looking around like, what's up,
He
guys?
was just
Like,
chilling.
I'm supposed to not be out yet. Like, I need to bake a little bit more in the oven. So, whatever. It was super, super funny. And as soon as they got him out, they instantly put him on the table, I guess, to check, make sure he's breathing and everything. And then after a few minutes of them, like, assessing him, I got to go over there and cut his umbilical cord, and he was still not crying. He was just like staring at everybody, I guess wondering like what was going on, and looked super good. He was super cute. Then they took him back to the NICU, and I came back over and sat by Megan, and they sewed her up. And the whole process was like, it went by so fast. Like
It did not feel that fast.
It was fast. Like it felt like it was over in literally less than 45 minutes. Like I was very impressed. Then they sewed you up.
They actually found while she
they did.
During the C-section, when she was looking at my uterus, she saw the spot that was like causing me so much pain. Like we didn't even say, like we ended up having to go to the ER one night because the pain was so bad. But a stitch, like if you're looking at a pair of jeans and like a stitch just comes out, it's basically what happened on my uterus, except it was like the stitches they use are so strong to try and prevent membrane separation. It's like barbed wire, and it was like sticking out of my uterus, and it was scraping away at the like my fascia layer, and it like scraped a chunk off, and that chunk was then covering the stitch. And she said that that's when it probably happened, because my pain stopped a couple nights after we ended up in the ER. So the night that we went was probably the night that it like scraped off and then was covering that stitch and not causing me so much pain. And so she was able to fix that during the C-section.
Yeah, she was literally just like
in awe. She was in shock.
Yeah, she had just got done like with the baby and stuff, and she was like, "Oh, I found what was causing you so much pain," and we were just like, "What?" And then she was like, "I'm gonna try to repair it." And,
and she like videoed it too, so I got to see it, and it was just like so reassuring, because I've never felt a pain like that before. And
yeah, it was good to know that like they found it and got rid of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for people like that may be watching this, say if your baby has spina bifida and you think about doing the procedure we had, and you have the surgery and everything, if you were to get pains like that,
could be a seizure.
Chances
and
are
like I had
that's
talked
probably
to
what
other
it is.
spina bifida moms who had had the surgery about the pain that I was having, and a lot of them had similar pains.
Unfortunately.
Very unfortunately, because
be.
the surgery is so beneficial.
Yeah.
This is just like a poopy side effect, I guess.
Yeah. And I feel like it like kind of depressing.
It was completely worth it to have the surgery.
Oh, well, yeah.
Like, I would do it over again.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like it's also kind of depressing, because it's just extra pain on top of everything that you're already going through.
But Aiden is here.
Yep, he's here. He's doing good. He's been in the NICU for
6 days.
6 days. Actually, we got to see him the same day, actually, in the NICU, didn't we? Yeah.
We went twice that day.
Megan healed like 10 times faster with the C-section than she did.
Oh, yeah.
With the fetoscopic surgery.
Within a couple hours.
So that's another good thing about it. Like, if you don't get to have a natural birth, don't, be too upset about it, because I know Megan wanted to have a natural birth, but
so bad.
Honestly, we're both pretty happy about how everything worked out. I mean, preterm baby, big surgery, and then another incision on the same incision they had for surgery. But Megan was literally walking within 24 hours, like up and walking around, using the bathroom and doing all kinds of stuff. Like, it was crazy. And all the nurses and doctors were like, "This is great." Like, I mean, might not be the case for everybody, but I mean, do you think it was a lot easier to handle than the
compared to fetal surgery?
Yeah, I mean, just watching you do stuff, it looked like you had like a relief of pain, almost, like with the sutures and everything being gone. But yeah, we got to see little Aiden in his little NICU room. He's like in a little.
Although I wish he could have kept bacon. I wish he would have stayed in there till 40 weeks. I'm
pretty happy he's here now. I don't think I would want to change it. I'm glad we got to see him. I was tired of waiting.
I wish he was home with us.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, everything's went good. As far as recovery wise, your leg, you had some a little bit of nerve damage from the first surgery, which was also another like abnormal experience. Yeah. So you've been taking gabapentin.
Yeah.
And it's. I feel like it's gotten.
I feel like it's
better.
helped. Yeah.
You've been walking around a lot better, and stuff.
But so far, Aiden's spina bifida stuff is looking good. So like the fetal surgery, some people get confused and they think like, oh, his spina bifida's fixed, or like, oh, he had spina bifida but he doesn't have it anymore. But like that's not the case.
It's not how it
like
works.
he'll always have spina bifida. The surgery is just to like help prevent nerve damage and to restore as much as it can. So like he'll still have to deal with spina bifida things.
Depending, but I'm sure it just depends. We don't really know what all he's going to have yet. It takes time for them to
just kind of monitor. Like he'll always be like mobility. He's always had really good mobility in his hips and knees. So like his spina bifida was at his L4, L5, so that it can impair mobility in the ankles. So we may not know like how strong he is or like how his range of motion, like till a little ways down the road. But good thing is that we've seen him moving up.
Oh, he's been moving like crazy. I mean,
he's
as far as his
toes.
legs and stuff, he kicks his legs just like straight out and like keeps them straight. Moves his arms and everything really good. He still hasn't really cried a lot. Like hopefully he's just
really
not a crier. He's a tough little boy.
Yeah.
He's been through a lot.
And then his ventricles they're still like large, but they
haven't grown.
They haven't grown.
Yeah, they've stayed.
And they didn't grow after. They grew a little bit after surgery, so they went up by like 2, like tiny little, like that's really nothing. And they haven't grown since. But he'll always be monitored for like hydrocephalus, so like fluid on the brain, or like just large vents. And so he gets his head size measured every day and every night in the NICU. And then he has an MRI ordered. It just hasn't been completed yet. Yeah. But that'll tell us like also he like with spina bifida, you have a Chiari malformation, which is like your brain is kind of like pulled down into the spine. It's also called hindbrain herniation. And the week before he was born, he had an MRI, and it was almost completely reversed. So we're hoping this MRI.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Overall, we're very, very thankful and super happy about how everything has went. I mean, we couldn't have had it, honestly, anything better than this.
And he's doing so good.
He's doing so good. Would definitely, I mean, you're the one that had the surgery, so would you recommend this to anybody? I mean, that's thinking about doing it.
But also like postnatal too. Like you can't go wrong either way. Like I've asked multiple moms on both sides of the spectrum whether they had intrauterine repair or postnatal repair, and none of them have regretted their decision.
Yeah, I mean, having the surgery in general is better than not having it. You know,
I mean, they would have to have it.
I'm saying like having it. I feel like having it before the baby's born, it's better. I mean, everybody said like,
don't have that option.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have the option, then you gotta do what you have to do. But like, if you do have the option to do that, I feel like you should, because like the doctors were telling us, like the repair is to get it done as fast as possible. That way they can like incubate in the uterus and like heal for longer before they're born, instead of being born and having that big surgery. It kind of helps. Almost could potentially reverse some of this, like the side effects of spina bifida and stuff.
If vents are small enough, like in utero, after the diagnosis, then the surgery can definitely decrease vent size. To whereas in our case, his vents were already too big to decrease in size with surgery. So that wasn't really like a pro on the spectrum.
It was more so they didn't think that was going to reverse.
Yeah.
If anything, it could just kind of plane it out and then hopefully get more mobility in his like feet.
Our two pros to have surgery were increased mobility in the ankles and then the hindbrain herniation reversal. To where some people have the 3 pros with also the decreased in vents. But because Aiden's vents were already so big, that wasn't really a pro for us. But it can postpone him needing a shunt for up to a long time. Some people go like a couple years with larger vents and no shunt. And that's the hope for us. But also we're not like...
But I'm pretty like confident. He's doing so good. And you can't just... You have to be like forward thinking about this stuff. You can't just think the worst is going to happen all the time, or else you're just going to be miserable. You have to like count your blessings. Every little thing that happens that's good is just a step further of having a baby.
He just got his like feeds increased, and like that's such a like I'm just so happy about that.
I mean, he's doing good. I mean, even if he wasn't doing good, he's still perfect. Like they're all perfect. Every single surgery like is different. Everybody's, I guess, spina bifida diagnosis is going to be different.
It's the snowflake condition for a reason.
I mean, we're blessed and thankful to how it kind of ended up for us. But I mean, it was hard. It was a long journey. I mean,
and it's still going to be a long journey.
It's still, it's not even over yet, but it's all better now that he's here and we get to actually see him and
Hold him.
watch him grow. It's awesome. Like he's only 6 days old too, so
Yeah.
It's crazy how much things have already changed.
How much we love him.
Oh yeah, he's so cute.
And all the nurses have said he's cute.
Yeah, all the nurses have said he's cute, so I don't think they would lie to us, but
They may say that about every baby, but
we know he's cute.
yeah, they've said it a lot.
He looks
about
just
our
like
baby.
me. I mean, what do you expect?
Drama.
But I definitely think for like families, moms and dads that are considering this, John Hopkins here in Baltimore, they're awesome. Texas was amazing too. You know, COVID and the situation, everything, everything happens for a reason. So we came up here, and we think that there was a reason for us coming up here, and we're very, very happy that we're here. But it's going to be a long, hard road. I mean, like we said, I mean, it's not even over for us yet, but it's been very stressful.
Aiden will always be followed by like physical therapy and a neurologist and a whole bunch of people that care about him.
You have to have, I mean, either way, I mean, even if you have like the post-birth surgery or this surgery, I mean, it's going to be a long road, but like, just be prepared. Like, you're going to have to like really be committed and
also we have like
the best.
Such a strong community of people like
without our like family and friends and like church family and stuff, there's no way we would have been able to do this. So I mean, we're so grateful and thankful for everybody that's like prayed for us. I mean, that's like the biggest thing ever. Like, God's blessed us so much.
People we don't know, like churches we don't know.
Yeah, it's like the family that that we're gonna let us stay in their condo in Texas for free.
We had no idea who they were.
Never met them in our entire life, but they're just always nice people out there, and you know, hopefully, I wish every single family going through this could like have something like that. You know, it would be nice. I mean, the hospital does.
Yeah, there's like Ronald McDonald houses, and like
try.
The hospitals help a lot. We just didn't think that a Ronald McDonald house, if it was like
no, there's no way. I mean, if you have, like, that's the only option you have, do that. But if you have the capability, or even like just somewhere where you have your own space, as far, because I mean, her surgery and stuff, like it's a lot, and having like a little bit of privacy and stuff, I feel like helps a lot. Not just with her recovery, but like your mental state. I mean, it's mentally stressful. Like, it's very emotionally like hard to deal with all of this, and then continue to deal with it for a long time, especially for her, like carrying a baby, having surgery, worrying about everything,
recovering from surgery with a baby.
Yeah.
And it's not just, I don't know, everyone told us like it's a hard surgery, like it's rough, but no one really told us how rough.
No. I feel like the key is just to stay positive, literally
all the time.
Just think of your baby and think about how it's going to benefit him and him or her, and that's it. I mean, it's not about y'all right now, it's about the baby. And you know, if you're doing this, you're already great parents. I mean, you're doing so much for your babies, and that's great. It definitely takes a community, so if you have family and friends, reach out to them, talk to them.
There's so many Facebook groups too that have been so helpful. Yeah,
I can probably link the Facebook group you're in the description of this video, so like the moms can maybe join that if they have questions. I mean, that's been like almost like Google for spina bifida for you, like reaching out to moms and stuff, and for dads.
There's one for dads.
What?
I told you that.
I didn't know that. Either way, dads, you just gotta be sweet to the mamas. You're literally gonna be their slave. Like, whatever they need or want, you're just gonna have to go do it. And trust me, it's annoying. It's very stressful. I'm over here trying to play like Xbox or something, and Megan's like, "Babe, will you get me a Coke? Babe, will you get me this and that?" And like, you know, a couple times not bad. Like the 100th time, you're just like, "Woman, go to sleep. Just go to sleep and just let me have a couple minutes of my own time." But I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you got any like questions about anything, I'm sure you could like comment below and we can try to like reply best we can. But I think like
If anyone other than our family watches this.
yeah, anyone other than our family should know everything. We hope you guys watch this, but if you ask questions, just like text or call us. It'd probably be more efficient.
And there's a whole lot more than we could pack into this video.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean it's been a journey for sure. We just want to kind of give the overview of what's going on in our life. Other than that, that's our little update. We hope everybody that watches this has a great night, and whatever y'all are going through, hopefully everything works out.
Yep.
Yeah. Bye guys.